Well, we are back again. It's a brand new year, which means I need to get my ass in gear. Um, but yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. There was supposed to be like another 3 streams, but you know how it gets. Round about this year, you end up just not being able to do anything. Just not enough time to do anything. Right, I can get rid of that. But we got a few things to talk about today. Marvel, as always. There's always something. There's always something to talk about when it comes to Marvel. We got a bit of Star Wars news, although it's not really news. It's things we already knew. How this new Rey movie was gonna go, and I suppose the other thing we were gonna get into was taking a little look at the desert that is 2024. Within Hollywood, there's nothing. There's nothing going on at least in terms of films. It is pretty much dead. So I thought it was worth, we kind of have a little look. I'm looking at it right now, just the list of films that are coming out. I'm like, maybe there's a couple there that I give a shit about. Other than that, I'm just like, I probably don't need to see that. So we'll get into that a little bit. We'll probably leave that last, I reckon. We're diving into that. I still haven't done the best and worst of 2023. That's still something that I'm gonna do. Probably, I don't know. Probably on Saturday. I was supposed to do it Saturday there, but again, it's that time of year. You've just never got the time to do stuff like that. So I'm gonna try and do a stream for that. Maybe on Saturday. I'll have to see, what I got going on. But I'm pretty sure I'm free. I think the other stream we were supposed to do was a breakdown of Rebel Moon. I couldn't get through that. It was too shit and too boring. I was just like, I think I can probably skip this one. It'd be perfectly fine. Because it was an absolute piece of shit. It was typical, Zack Snyder stuff, cringe, slow motion. It was all of the stuff that you would expect it to be. So I made it about, probably about 48 minutes in, and I was just like, I can't be fucked watching any more of that. I just thought, nah, leave it. Just leave it, because, get with this one in particular, it didn't seem like there was much interest there anyway. I didn't see many people talking about it. Maybe the talking part of it lasted a couple of days. And then that just completely died off. But yeah, just seeing those 48 minutes, it's safe to say that Rebel Moon is not going to be, the next Star Wars. I think what Rebel Moon is, that is Zack Snyder ripping off Netflix. That's what that is. That's the only impression I get from that. But yeah, I could not make it through that. It was just, it wasn't, whereas with, like, say if it's the Marvels, it's like there's a lot of laughs you can get out of that in its, being shit. Whereas with Rebel Moon, it was just like, yeah, this is really shit, but this looks really boring to talk about. Just no sense of, building out a believable world. Just everything contradicts each other. Nothing makes any sense. So that's kind of what I expected. So that's died out pretty quick. But now we've come into 2024. Again, as I say, there's really nothing in terms, specifically the first part of the year. It's just dead. There's nothing going on. It's not really until we get into maybe September, because then we've got, House of the Dragon Season 2, The Rings of Power Season 2. Once you sort of get round about that time of year, then it's going to be a bit busier. But for the majority of the year, and that's, what I meant, that's just TV shows. That's what, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. It's just when you actually look at the film slate, it's just completely dead. There's a lot of shite. I think that's really what it is. But it is just an absolute desert. But as I say, we'll get into that at some point. But I figured first we talk about this Echo series, this 5 episodes. I thought it was 6 episodes. I'm pretty sure with Echo, they've cut it to shit. Well, I mean, we already know that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I covered videos about, about this series when, it'd been cut to shit, apparently. They had to take another look at it, do reshoots. That's why, from what I heard, the actress that plays Echo gains weight at some point, just randomly. So that already, again, typical Marvel fashion. And then we have the aspect of, what was it that came out again? I forget. There was like another piece of information, but I've kind of just lost it now. But this was, so this was like a series I think Marvel wanted to get rid of. There's a reason why it's just all 5 episodes are being dumped in the same day. Something that Marvel or Disney Plus have never done before, because they know that is the stupid approach unless you're trying to hide something. Unless you're trying to go, right, just fucking quietly dump it. That's kind of what the impression I get from just going, here's all 5 episodes, forget about it quickly. We don't want to be laughed at for 5 weeks. That's how it kind of comes across. And just seeing the way some of the people that worked on this show, seeing some of the things they say, it's just like you're talking out your ass. They're going, it's like Andor. It's Breaking Bad. It's this, it's that, it's the other. Oh, we've got broken bones in our show. It's like, all right. It's like everything we're sort of about to read. It's just like, don't talk shit. Just don't talk shit. Because I suppose there was some people, the people that still in the Marvel for whatever reason. Their response to this kind of news was, oh, it's rated MA. It's mature. That means good, apparently. That was some of the reactions from some people. It's just like, Echo being R-rated, that doesn't stop it from being shit. But that seemed to be the thoughts from some people. Was like, oh, they're making it R-rated. That means it's going to be more serious. And it's like, yeah, it's still going to be shit, though. It's like with this Echo series, it's, again, it's another show where it's like, yeah, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be 5 episodes of dog shit. I'm already glad that the action scene that they put out, I believe a couple of days ago, apparently that's 5 minutes long in episode 1. And I was like, yes, that makes it quicker. That makes it a lot quicker to review. Because I don't really, I'm not going to get too far into the sort of action of it. From what we've seen of that action, it's just like, oh yeah, they didn't have as many cuts. Still looks shit, though. It didn't look very good. But like even with even with that, I'm like, that means it's 5 minutes. I can get through a lot quicker when it comes to scripting things for it. Happy New Year, Biffer. It's been a little while, but I think with it being a new year, we might as well come back to this. I want to start getting back to videos and things like that. But I guess we'll see. I suppose it's just going to be wherever passion strikes. Then I'll probably get in some videos. But this was the article that I just kind of Googled. I thought, well, let's see what they've been saying about this series. This is like one of the most recent articles. Because I think there's interviews out there with the cast, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So this is from Inverse. Echo cast and crew respond to Star Wars Andor comparisons. It's not going to be like Andor. Andor was good. Echo, it's just like they said this same shit about Secret Invasion. They said, oh, Secret Invasion's a lot more serious. It's like Andor. It's like Marvel's Andor. And it's like, look how that turned out. That was fucking awful. That was one of the worst ones. Utterly destroyed Nick Fury. Just completely obliterated him to the point that it's like, I don't want to see him anymore. I'm really annoyed. That was just terrible. And again, it was the same stuff they were saying. Oh, it's Marvel's Andor. It's like, it was nothing like it. It was nowhere near it. But they seem to think just because something shares a certain tone, that somehow makes them similar. When it just, it's like Secret Invasion compared to Andor, completely different things. But let's see what this article gets into. I was reading this earlier, and I did laugh at some of the stuff they're saying. Echo doesn't look like your usual Marvel streaming show, and that's no accident. In all its marketing, the studio makes one thing clear. Echo is different. Because as we know, being different equals good. It's serious. Again, that's another thing that doesn't mean anything. We've heard that before with Secret Invasion. That wasn't a serious show. It was just seriously shit. For one thing, with a TVMA rating and a brutal, grounded tone, again, I don't know how they can say, Echo's different. It's brutal and grounded. It's like, yeah, we had the Daredevil series. That's we've already done that. But I'm pretty sure in this article they try and make it seem like this is a different approach for Marvel. It's just like we've seen this stuff before. Especially the stuff with we've got blood and broken noses in our show. It's like, yeah, we've had that in the MCU. We started off with Iron Man, where he had a battery hooked up to his insides. I'm pretty sure we've done all that before. It's also not just another cog in the machinery of the MCU, instead launching a subdivision of the MCU titled Spotlight, and they've basically come up with that so they don't have to care about canon to make excuses. That's why they've come up with this. This is a Spotlight TV series for stories that make sense on their own, even if you're not caught up on the franchise. This new approach to MCU storytelling led to some obvious comparisons to another serious Disney show spun out of a mega franchise, Andor. That's not a comparison. Oh, this is serious and this is serious, so they're basically the same. I do really get tired of, comparing your shit to like other good shows. It happens all the time now. Wakanda Forever. Oh, it's just like The Godfather. And it's like, no, it fucking isn't. Stop comparing or bringing up good movies and trying to attach it to your crap. It's just constantly. They can't just have it stand on its own 2 feet. It's got to be attached to something that people like. Both shows focus on a non-superpowered anti-hero. They're basically the same then. But both shows take a more serious tone than most of what's come before. The original trilogy, that was pretty serious. There was people burned alive and dead and things like that. And both shows take a more serious tone than most of what's come before. But according to Echo's executive producer Richie Palmer, the comparison is only half accurate. Like Andor, there's complex characters with very emotional stories along the way that I think will surprise you. Again, I just read that, and I'm just thinking to myself, this guy probably doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Probably doesn't know what a complex character is. It's just going to be Echo will show up in a native garb, and she'll have one leg, and she's Native American, and, it'd be shit like that. That's what a complex character seems to be to a lot of these people that work at Marvel. But Echo is its own thing, and it's unique to anything that we put on Disney Plus before. Again, we heard this with Secret Invasion. That was absolutely atrocious. Director Sidney Freeland, a longtime Star Wars fan, sees the comparison as a challenge more than an endorsement. Andor was probably one of, if not my favourite shows of 2022. Incredibly honest, so, but you probably didn't understand it. That's the impression I get. You know, I again, it's just like, you just kind of look at these people and you're like, do you know what good is? Because I don't think they have that ability to tell. Incredibly honoured to even be in the conversation, or even to sniff that same air. I don't even know who's been saying, oh, it's like Andor. Who has been saying that? I haven't seen any comparisons. I haven't seen anyone say it, that, oh, it's in the same conversation as Andor. I haven't seen anyone say that. So it almost sounds like it's just made up. If we can come even remotely close to Andor in our level of storytelling, that's, you know, you're not going to do that, but give it a bash, I guess. That would be amazing, and that would be over the moon. But for stars Shask Spencer, who plays Maya's Uncle Henry, and Devry Jacobs, who plays her cousin Bonnie, Echo is nothing like Andor. It's better. I can't wait to see this show now. It touches on some darker themes in subject matter. Yeah, okay. Right, but that doesn't mean anything. Just because you touch on darker themes that we all know, you're going to contradict it by your shit plot. We all know that, so having dark themes then means nothing. Because they're just going to contradict them anyway. We can really feel the punches in all that Maya does. It's gritty. You know, again, that's another word that gets thrown about, like that somehow equals quality. I don't see an Ewok getting anywhere near this. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is just going to be another show that would make me think of the Ewoks because of how dumb they are. Echo's greatest strength may be how small its stakes really are, at least compared to the rest of the MCU. You know, again, it's like, how many times do they say this about things as well? That, oh, it's smaller stakes. We all know at some point at the end of the show, there's going to be something to do with time travel or something like that. I doubt they're going to do that, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it just turns into some time travel bullshit. At least compared to the rest of the MCU. This may seem counterintuitive, but when every new show and movie is about the end of the world, Iron Man wasn't about the end of the world. You know, there's plenty of Marvel films or projects that aren't about the end of the world. I don't know why they seem to think that they're somehow doing something new. There's something refreshing about a show which that feels a little smaller. Despite its grounded tone, Andor was still about saving the galaxy from an evil... I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't really say that's what it was about. We weren't dealing with the fate of the universe. We got to tell a more intimate human hit story. I'm also finding it funny that they're using the word grounded. It's like, have you not seen, like, Echo gets, like, superpowers. You know, what is it? Her long-forgotten native ancestors, I don't know, enter her soul, and that gives her powers. And you're like, oh, it's grounded, you see. So, yeah, they even start off the article with, oh, it's like Andor because your main protagonist doesn't have superpowers, yet they're going to get superpowers in the show. So it's like, that's not even a comparison. We got to tell a more intimate human story, but hopefully in doing so, it actually raises the stakes. In our show, people die, people bleed. Yeah, okay, people have died in the MCU. You know, people die in lots of things. I don't understand that we're going to say it like we're the first to do it. People die, people bleed. Yep, seen that. People get killed. Okay, so people die and people get killed, right? Bones get broken. That's never happened before. As for Echo's unexpected rating, making the show so violent wasn't a deliberate choice. How violent do we actually think it's going to be? I don't think it would be that violent. You know, you're not going to see someone get shot in the head or stabbed You're not really going to see. I don't think it's going to be that violent. You're not going to have Kingpin slamming a man's head in a fucking car door. It's not going to be anywhere near that. We didn't set out to make a TVMA show as a rule or a goal, but we didn't want to hold back on any of that violence. We wanted to make sure that she was the badass that she was in the comics. Do we think she's going to be a badass? I don't think so. We didn't want to pull our punches, but despite all these differences, Palmer hints that Echo's unusual tone, right, so now it's an unusual tone. We were told, oh, it's a grounded tone, now it's an unusual one. And Spotlight label doesn't mean it can't tie into the MCU. So, right, okay. Well, I guess they mean, these characters popping up in other series. I think that's always been the fun promise of the MCU, and one that we hope to continue to honour. So that's kind of what they think they've made. We all know it's not going to be that. It's just so obvious how bad this show's going to be. It's like that's the only reason they just want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. This was supposed to be 6 episodes, now cut down to 5. I'm expecting half-an-hour episodes, I hope, because then it's not going to take us long to fucking review it. But we already know they've cut it down. We know it's getting the binge model, something that Disney Plus never do, and they haven't got any shows planned to do that. This is the only one they've done it with, because it must be really terrible. I mean, that's already been the talk of the town. From people behind the scenes, what a disaster this is. So yeah, it sounds to me it's just going to be like another Secret Invasion. They're going to go out saying, "Oh, it's violent. Oh, it's this. It's gritty. It's like this show or that show." But yeah, it's just going to be shit. I mean, it's just so obvious just how they're putting it out. They want people to just binge it and be done with it after a week. They can't quite deal with the 5 weeks of mockery. That's really what I think it is. Because I'm pretty sure they were trying to cancel this show. I think it was just that they were that far into it, or there was something like they couldn't get rid of it because contracts, things of that nature. But 5 episodes, I think they must have cut out a lot of stuff. Again, all you have to look at really is they've done loads of reshoots. Oh right, it's going to be terrible then. That's really all you need to make make a sort of judgment on it. But that gets us through the Echo side of things. I'm not fucking expecting much from that. I think I'm probably going to do like because I've got that new channel now, so I'm still going to do I'm going to do a live stream and sort of we just go over the whole thing, and then I'm just working on reviews for that new channel, which I think I'm probably going to split it into like 3 videos. Just have the the first part, the first 2 episodes, second part the 3 and 4, and then 1 video for the 5th one, and then I suppose some type of conclusion thing. So that's kind of what I've got on next week, and I really need to fucking move it along as well. Hopefully I get that done quick, because I'll probably get all that done, and then we'll do like a stream. It's probably going to depend how long each episode is. I might have to split it into 2 streams, because I don't think I'd be able to sit here for like 5 hours going over it. But again, it's like you always kind of know how these shows go. Nothing happens for the entire series. Maybe the last 5 minutes of the final episode. Other than that, nothing happens anyway. Just very little to talk about. But that's where Marvel is. This year we've got Echo and because we're only getting 2 Marvel shows this year, and it's Echo and Agatha. You know that show everybody clamored after? Agatha, the Darkhold Diaries, or they keep changing the name. I don't know why. So that's the only 2 ones coming. The only other Marvel project is, what is it, Deadpool 3. And that's all. So we get a bit of a breather from Marvel this year. I mean, I suppose it's the same for Star Wars. I think, what have we got? We got The Acolyte. I'm quite looking forward to that, because I'm just like, that's really going to be a shit show. It just kind of sounds like, oh, it's going to be really funny, like, not in a good way. It's going to be in a sort of Batwoman way. That's kind of my takeaway, just with it having to do with, you know, who it's to do with. And I think so it's The Acolyte and then Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew, I'm more willing to give a chance, just because it's John Watts. You know, that's the only reason. I'm like, I like that guy. You know, I like the Spider-Man films. I think he's done a decent job. So yeah, I'll give that a look. I think he's also got a film as well coming out this year as well, so I might give that a look. But yeah, Star Wars. Speaking of Star Wars, we had some more bad news. That, you know, who cares? That's just the funny thing about all this. You know, this stuff that they come out and say, it's just like, yeah, it's dead. It's already fucking dead. So it's just like, there's not really anything you can do to make it worse. You know, it's already at the bottom. You know, it's already sunk at the bottom. And like most people, when you know, it's only got one way to go but up. That's doesn't happen to be the case for when it comes to Star Wars. You know, once it hits the bottom, it just stays there. You know, they keep piling on bricks, you know, on top of it, so it just cannot come above the surface ever again. But we all heard about this Daisy Ridley-led sequel. They decided to go, what we're going to do to win back our fans, we're going to do a Rey movie. You know, that worked out so well for the sequel trilogy. It definitely didn't piss off everyone. It definitely didn't splinter an entire fandom. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do next. You know, it's one of the stupidest decisions they could possibly make. Rather than just go, in fact, maybe what we want to do is get away from all this shit. You know, get away from the Skywalker stuff, get away from the sequel, just get away from it all. But they're like, nah, we've got to go back again. And I think why we're getting this film is just because how desperate Kathleen Kennedy is to make it work. You know, she's just like, you're going to like this, you're going to like it this time, and if that doesn't work out, oh, well, we're going to give you another 2 films. You know, it's just this desperation to prove everyone wrong. That's almost what it feels like for why we're doing this Rey film. But this was you know, it was another clip that got sent out there. I mean, this isn't the first type of... It's not the first time this director of this film has said things like that, like this. You know, when it was first announced that she was attached to the Rey movie, you know, she was spouting similar stuff. Even before that, there's plenty of clips out there saying, I like to make men uncomfortable. It's just like, you're the right person for the job then, aren't you? For Star Wars, when it's fucking dead. You know, we're not going to get a director that is, well, you know, up to the task. We're going to get some director that's done documentaries and some random fucking films that nobody's heard of. That's who we're going to get for a Star Wars film. Rather than just get someone with, you know, they don't even have to be someone that's done like they just need to be good. That's really all it comes down to. But it's just like when they're in the position they're in, they need to actually get people that have something under their belt. It's like you can experiment more with people that maybe don't have as much experience when you're sort of on top of the world. But when it's like when you're in the position that they are, it's like, nah, you need to actually get someone good. You need to get someone that knows what they're doing, really. But instead we get, oh, we're going to get the director of a documentary that won awards, apparently. It's like, oh, yeah, that's probably not the right person then. But this was obviously another clip that came out because I believe she was on CNN and started talking the usual shit that, some of these fucking idiots think to say about their Star Wars film. They don't just go, oh yeah, really looking forward to 2024. This Star Wars film, we're hoping people like it. We're hoping we've got our, finger there on the right thing. No, instead it's like, oh, I can't wait to, finally it's about time a woman shaped a Star Wars film. So, all right, so all right, we've done that then. Marsha Lucas, she had a hand in shaping Star Wars. And then you've got the head of the studios currently, Kathleen Kennedy. Although she hasn't shaped it, she's kind of ripped it apart, threw it in the toilet, and flushed it. She didn't really shape anything. She's just stupid. But no, this is, again, it's the first time this is happening. A woman is finally doing something. It's like, yeah, it's already happened. Already done it. Star Wars director Shamina Obaid Chinoy, who has said in the past, I like making men uncomfortable, has said it's about time a woman shaped a Star Wars film after the beloved sci-fi franchise has gone close to half a century with films directed only by men. Every time you read sentences like that, you're just like, and? You're not, that doesn't, oh, we got a woman. So that doesn't mean shit. I don't care who fucking, I don't care who directs it. If it's a woman or a man. It's just like, just be right for the job and just be talented. That's all you need. So this idea that, oh, well, the reason we got to do this is because every Star Wars film has been directed by men. It's just like, yeah, you hired them. I don't know what they want me to say to that. Obaid Chinoy will direct a currently untitled and undated Star Wars film. I find it funny that they're talking about this film. It's like it's undated. There's no title. It's just like, we're doing a film, even though we've announced about 25 projects that have never went as far as announcing them. Star Wars film starring sequel trilogy star Daisy Ridley, because she's not getting work anywhere else because Star Wars ruined her career. So I mean, if I was her, you might as well do this. What else have you got going on? I mean, it was her film recently, didn't even hit $1 million. That's really fucking embarrassing. That follows her character Rey Skywalker. Yeah, it seems as though Adam Driver's the smart one. Although Adam Driver's, he's done plenty of work, good work as well. Star Daisy Ridley that follows her character Rey Skywalker as she looks to rebuild the Jedi Order 15 years after the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So this is what Obaid Chinoy decided to say. She didn't think to say, we're going to get fans amped up about this. She thought, no, I'll just talk about, some activist shit, because Lucasfilm have to hire activists and not, directors. I'm very thrilled about the project because I feel what we're about to create is something very special. We're in 2024 now, and it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away. It's just like, why would you say that? I don't know what that's got to do with anything. But it's, again, it's just the usual stuff. It's like, it just tells me about who this person is. It just tells me that, oh, you haven't got your eye on the right thing then. So what you're coming out and telling me now is this film's going to fucking suck balls. And it's not going to make any money. It's going to be a massive flop, worse flop than, Solo. It's going to do worse than that. It's like, nobody cares about Rey. It's like, even when they first announced this, like last year, I remember reading an article where because it was at the Star Wars celebration. So you had articles coming out where they were going around talking to people saying, "Oh, how do you feel about Rey coming back?" And they're just like, I thought we were done with Rey. There was no like, "Oh yes, Rey's coming back." There was none of that like you would have with Luke Skywalker. There was just no one was fucking interested. So that right there, even without its speaking of its quality, it's just like, yeah, people just don't care about this character. There's just the majority of people do not care about this character. So maybe it's not the right film to do. Maybe you should just try something new. That's the route you should go down. But no, they're gonna bring her back. She's rebuilding the Jedi Order. I wonder, is she gonna try and kill one of her students? Probably not. She's just gonna be great at everything. We already know it's gonna be that way. We just can't have a fail. You see, when it's you could do something good with that idea. Like rebuilding the Jedi Order, and it's like you fail. You could do stuff with that, but it's just going to be, oh no, it's all working perfectly. It's all fine. But that's what the recent comments about this Rey movie has been, is just, it's about time a woman shaped a Star Wars film. It's just like, yeah, Marsha Lucas done that. Your boss is a woman, Kathleen Kennedy. So I'm pretty sure we've done that already. Unless you're specifically talking about directors, I don't know. But yeah, it's like, yeah, no one's gonna care whatsoever about this Rey film. I'm honestly, I'm quite, I'm just curious, like what they're actually gonna do with this. That's even if it happens, I don't really trust them until they actually, like, yeah, we've done this. We've made it. It's ready to go. Then it's like, oh yeah, it's coming out then. But as of right now, just like, is it gonna happen? And it won't. It's just it's the one where when they announced a few films, I was like, that's probably the one that's most likely gonna happen. We know now that Dave Filoni's film is most definitely gonna happen. That's another film where I'm like, I can't wait to see Mando season 3 on the big screen. I can't wait to see a film with that. Because what season 3 of Mando was like, that was so fucking funny to watch. It was just everything was so fucking backwards. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be a few years before we see this Rey movie. It's going to be quite a while. Instead, this year, as I said at the start of this, Hollywood is a desert this year. It's not really until late 2024. That's maybe when it's going to be a bit busier. But sort of looking at the, these are apparently the most anticipated 2024 film from 2024 film. This isn't all of them, but this is kind of the, this is kind of the blockbusters. That's kind of the list here. Again, it's gonna be a lot of shite coming from blockbusters. I reckon there'd be a few good films throughout the year, but not that many. Not that many when you look at all these. So let me just, I don't know if it will zoom in. No. If I zoom in, it just, oh, for fuck's sake. So this is our slate of films for 2024. We've got Night Swim. I think that's just some horror. I don't really have interest in that. We've got Argyle. Maybe that will be interesting because it's being done by, what's his name? The guy that done, why am I, not, I was going to say Vince Vaughn there, but the Matthew Vaughn. That's got Henry Cavill in it. That could be interesting, maybe. But at the moment, it's something like, yeah, I don't really care about that at the moment. Then, of course, we've got this has got to be everyone's most anticipated film. We've got Madam Web coming out in February. That's going to be an epic film. That's just going to be a meme of a film, and it's going to be basically another Morbius. you know, looking at the trailers, the trailer was fucking terrible. Like, what was it? You had that piece of dialogue, that, you know, that exposition that was just absolutely awful. Oh, my mother done this when she was like, basically just told us everything about her past. So that's yeah, that's gonna that looks to me to be one of the worst films of the year. Just it's again, I don't know why they're doing a Madam Web film. It's just like, why are you fucking doing that? And then we've got Dune Part 2. I'm quite looking forward to that. I'm quite curious for what that's going to be. I quite like the first one, so and I imagine that's on most people's lists, where it's like, yeah, I want to see that. It's just, you know, as I say, that you're very limited with what you know what you're looking forward to. Just, you've got Dune Part 2, Kung Fu Panda 4. You know, I like Kung Fu Panda. I can't. Well, was the third one that wasn't well received? No, I have I even seen the third one? I honestly, I don't think I've seen the third one, but you know, I'm more looking forward to, you know, Shrek 5 and maybe another Puss in Boots film. I think I don't think I was ever really as into Kung Fu Panda as I was, you know, the other ones. But you know, I'm probably not going to watch it unless it's one of those situations where it gets recommended, maybe. You've then got Ghostbusters. I still haven't seen the previous one. I haven't seen the 2016 one. I think most people are kind of over Ghostbusters. It's like, yeah, fine, we had 1 and 2. Why are we making more? I still haven't had any interest watching the one that came out a couple of years ago. I did videos on it as well, and I just never watched it. From what I heard, it wasn't, you know, there was nothing was nothing really. I suppose it was a bit mediocre. You know, that's kind of what I heard about. So you've got another Ghostbusters film. It's just like, who the fuck cares about Ghostbusters anymore? It's like, you know, I don't mind watching the first and second one, but it's just like, that's all you need, really, to keep doing sequels and things like that to those two films. It's just like, give it a rest, maybe. And then we've got Godzilla Kong, the New Empire. Is that even worth? Is it even worth me saying anything about that? I've still got to see Godzilla -1. That's the only Godzilla film I'm interested in seeing. Then we've got If. That's that film with Ryan Reynolds, to do with the imaginary friends or some shit. I did watch the trailer for that. I didn't really have any interest. We've then got Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I didn't quite like the previous one, the Fury Road. No, I wasn't really a fan of that. Although I've still got to watch the Mad Max films. Those are still they're on my list to watch. They're still they're films that I've kind of seen bits and pieces, but I've never actually watched fully. So I'd rather just go and watch those than waste my time on Furiosa. I just found the Fury Road, it was just action than anything else. You know, I get quite bored of that after a while. That's all. I only seen it once, and that's really all I remember. It was just action, really. You know, it was good action. I'm not really going to deny that, but there wasn't really much to it other than that. You know, you had Mad Max. Didn't say a word the entire film. It's like, you know, I kind of watched this for Mad Max. So after that, we've got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I have some interest for that because I like the other ones. You know, I like the trilogy of them. So I hope that's good. I'm probably going to watch that one just because I do like the other ones. I think it was quite recently I rewatched them. Pretty decent films. You've got Ballerina. You know, I'm kind of bored of John Wick now, so I'm probably not going to watch that. Bad Boys 4. I'm not going to watch that either because, you know, this is kind of this. I think with Bad Boys, it's the same thing I get with like because we're doing Beverly Hills Cop 4. And I'm just like, I don't want to watch... I don't want to watch Beverly Hills Cop 4. We don't need Beverly Hills Cop 4. And that's kind of what I get with Bad Boys. It's like, Bad Boys works better in the time that it came out. It's the same with, like, Beverly Hills Cop 4. It's just like, I don't need to see 62-year-old Eddie Murphy playing this role in 2023. It's like, with certain things like Beverly Hills Cop, it's like they work better when they came out, 70s, 80s, all that. That's where I prefer to see it. Not in current day. It's just like that's kind of what, even just looking at, when I looked at the images of like Beverly Hills Cop 4, I was just like, I'm not gonna watch this film. I'm good. So yeah, Bad Boys 4, yeah, I ain't got any interest really. Bad Boys 1 and 2, I haven't seen the third one, so I don't really have. You've got Inside Out 2. I haven't seen that before. A Quiet Place Day 1. I kind of went off that a bit as well. A Quiet Place it's kind of it's those films that kind of don't hold up. When you first watch them, it's like, oh, that was a pretty decent film. It's more of, once you hear people sort of talk about it, it's like, oh, maybe it wasn't very good then. So yeah, I'm not really interested in A Quiet Place. But I guess that's a prequel. That's what I get. Despicable Me 4. Don't have much interest in that. Twisters. Why they're doing a sequel to Twister, I don't know. I like the original Twister. That's a good one. But yeah, I assume we're getting a second Twister. It's just like, oh, all right. Then we've got Deadpool 3. That's another film where it's like, yeah, I don't really care. With it being Marvel, it's just like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be any good. It's obvious I'm going to watch it, but all you can hope for is that it's funny. That's really all you can hope for. We've then got Borderlands, which I believe is based on the game. I mean, I'm probably going to watch that, I reckon. Because, even with Fallout that's coming out in April, I'm probably going to watch that as well. Although, I looked into who was writing who was writing this Amazon series Fallout. It's one of the people that wrote Captain Marvel. So it's like, oh, that's going to be a train wreck. That's going to be a train wreck. So, but yeah, I think most kind of video game adaptations I'm going to try and keep up with, because I'm kind of interested to see sort of where that goes. I mean, especially this year, next year, and the following years, it's just there's loads. There's just a lot of them. We've got Alien Romulus. I'm probably going to watch that. I don't think I'm going to like it. We've had Covenant, we've had Prometheus, so it's probably going to be the same there. Kraven the Hunter, you might as well put that beside Madam Web. Beetlejuice 2, I don't care about that. Transformers 1, I don't care about that. Joker, I'm still interested in that. I'm still giving, I'm still going to give, what's his name, the sort of benefit of the doubt. That's just one that, even since I've heard it, I'm like, I'm quite curious about that. I'm quite interested in how they do the musical aspect of it. Some people have kind of already turned on the idea, but I'm like, I'll wait and see on that one. So yeah, at the moment, Dune Part 2, Joker, those are really the only two that I'm kind of looking forward to. Venom 3, haven't seen the first two. Gladiator 2, I mean, Ridley Scott and coming back to his old films, that hasn't done well in the past. So I'm not really expecting much out of that. It's one of those films where it's like, we're doing Gladiator 2. No, it's fucking confusing. We've got the War of the Rohirrim. We've got more Lord of the Rings stuff. I assume that will be coming out pretty much after Rings of Power Season 2. So it might benefit from that coming out after that dog shit. We got another Karate Kid film. Now, move on with that one. Sonic 3. I haven't seen the first two. And then we've got Mufasa, the Lion King. Because Mufasa needed his solo film. I mean, that's got Disney on it. So, yeah, that's not going to be much interest in that. And that's sort of the slate for the year. That's nothing. There really is nothing. There's just nothing there where it's like, fuck me, that might be great. There's just nothing really. So yeah, that's what we've got going on this year. As I say, it's gonna get busier. I honestly picked the wrong year. To start this other YouTube channel, because it's just like, oh, there's nothing coming out really. Which I suppose isn't a bad thing, because then I can go back and go, oh, I wouldn't mind doing a video on this film, or this, that, or the other. So I guess that opens me up there a bit. But yeah, round about September, you got House of the Dragon, The Rings of Power. Fall. Yeah, all we've got the only things that I'm probably gonna watch the start of the year is we've got Echo coming out next week. Madam Web comes out in February 14th. And then I think March there's we got Dune. And then we've got Fallout in April. That's just one I'm kind of curious about, so I'm probably going to watch that one. But yeah, the start of the year, nothing really. It is pretty quiet. But I suppose that kind of brings us to the end of this stream anyway, because I was only planning to do a little bit. But yes, what have I got going on? I'm trying to actually fit. I think we're still going to do the best and worst of 2023. I'm still going to do a stream on that. I've been trying to catch up on some of the films that I missed last year. So I watched Killers of the Flower Moon on Sunday. I think the only thing I've got left to watch is The Holdovers. I think that's the only one, and then I've kind of caught up on a few of them. So I'm going to try and do that on Saturday. I don't think it's too late. Doing it in 2024, I think we'll be fine. Other than that, I suppose. We're gonna have to see. I will do a live stream breaking down Echo, and then I'll have videos coming out on the other channel. Other than that, nothing much really. But it's been going quite well anyway. The video I put out on my new channel, it's already past 2.1 thousand views, so it's doing all right at the moment, which I was glad to see. So yeah, I'm hoping that channel, I don't know why I didn't start with doing what I did with the Marvels review. I should have started with that, but what happens, but other than that, I think I'll we'll see we'll see how the year goes. I'll start I need to get back to doing videos on this channel as well. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye out, see if there's, I wouldn't mind doing a video on that. So that's kind of how I'm going to play it, rather than feeling like I have to do a video on this. I'd rather go, I wouldn't mind talking about that. So I think that's the better way to do it, because you do just burn yourself out. If you're just covering everything, fucking everything. I think that's what really done me in, was I just kind of got burnt out with doing that. This actor said this, and this is what they're doing with it. It gets a bit fucking old after a while. You feel like you're just making the same fucking video over and over. So yeah, I'd rather do it in more of a way where it's like, I want to do a video on that, rather than it just being like an obligation. But we'll see how that plays out. Because I might start like putting out some of these, some of the segments we do on these live streams. I might start putting those out. You know, recording them, looking through them, and then going, I could probably put that out actually. I think that's kind of worth doing every now and again. But yes, other than that, we've got nothing happening. Well, not nothing, but, you know, just other than that, there's not much else to say. But yeah, as I say, I might be back on Saturday to do the best and worst of 2023. I'm not really sure in what kind of format I'm gonna do it. Because some of the films I'm like, I'd have to rewatch them. So I kind of just made a list of films that I'd seen over the year. I'm like, yeah, I've seen that. So that's probably the best way to do it. You know, it probably work better, in a sort of conversation, rather than me just going, oh, this thing came out in this month. This was what happened in it. It was shit or it was good. You know, some of them I'm just like, I can't remember them. It's been that long. But yeah, we'll finish off there. I'll try and stick with doing these streams every week. Because it's been 2 weeks since we did the last one. So I'll be back with another one of these at some point next week. Really, it's just whenever I get the time, to be honest. You know, especially with next week having because I'm gonna have to be really quick with writing scripts for this Echo. So that's kind of what I'm spending my week doing next week. But we'll still, I suppose I'll put aside an hour and we will, you know, do another one of these. But yes, we will finish off there. And I will see you on the next one.